Sorry, I just started recording it now. He was brave, strong, and resilient, and persevered to see his patients even on his very bad days. Always when asked how he was, he would say to me, "I'm okay." His legacy is extensive, and that is what tonight is all about. So without further ado, I'm opening the meeting to those of you who would like to share their story with us and the impact Dr. Jeeva had on our lives. So as Dr. Jeeva would say in all the school meetings we went to, he'd say to me, he'd say to everybody else, "Let's turn the lights off and let's make this meeting sexy." So our first, so please, all of you, I invite you all to share your memories with us, because that's what tonight is all about. And when you're ready to, just put your hand up, and between Sumaya, Anita, and I, we will let you in and just share with us your experience with him. So Lay is going to share with us first. Thanks, Lay.
Good evening, everyone, and a special good evening to Dr. Jeeva's family and friends. Dr. Jeeva was a very special and unique person. In fact, there's no one quite like him. As someone who had ADHD himself, he made it his lifelong mission to devote himself to improving the quality of life for countless people who struggled with ADHD, and that includes myself. And of course, his brilliance in psychiatry was not just limited to ADHD, because he also assisted people with other disorders. But he could relate to us on a level that virtually no psychiatrist in this country can. And that's because he empathized with us, and he was meticulous about both educating us about ourselves and finding the right approach to our treatment. And we also know that he sacrificed a lot, both in sickness and in health. So we thank his family members for sharing this treasure of a doctor with us all. Dr. J made it okay to have ADHD, and he was my ADHD hero. So our condolences and sympathies go to his family, and you'll have to forgive my pronunciation, but we say, Inna li'ali wa inna ilahi rajun. So we pray that God can please comfort his family during this difficult time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lay. That was special. Who would like to say something? Just put your hand up and I'll unmute you.
Here we've got Lindiwe.
Lindiwe. Yeah. Trace.
I'm asking to unmute her.
Oh, there we go.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know that you would be asked to say something. Perhaps yes, when I just looked at the comments, I found that some people have been with Dr. Jeeva for longer, but with me, I only started with him in 2019. And well, how old I was already 50 years old then. So yeah, it shows that it took me a long time to firstly realize that I had a problem and that I could at least get assistance from someone about it. But yeah, when it came to Dr. Jeeva, I must say, I've even put it up here. Natalia, firstly, yes, she just made the process very simple for me just to get my first appointment and to have everything sorted with my medical aid. So yeah, thank you firstly to Natalia for that. And yeah, when I finally got to meet Dr. Jeeva, of course, yeah, I found him, yeah, he wasn't what I expected from a psychiatrist. But I must say, just working with him, it was amazing because, as I said, I've struggled for such a long time. And yeah, I'll just share that the first thing that he helped me with was to realize that I actually was depressed. It wasn't just ADHD. I had depression as well. And from there, that's how the journey started. But in my interactions with him, yes, I found him, just a second, sorry. Okay, sorry. My interactions with him, yes, I found him to be a fun person, and I really got to talk to Dr. Jeeva about things that I had never shared with anyone else. And somehow, yeah, because there were things, whereas I thought my problem was this, and I remember in my second session with him, I spoke about so many things. But then as I was talking to him, after a while, I realized that, okay, most of my problems came from a certain era of my life. And after having spoken to him, going through the sessions, I also managed to start conquering that area that was causing me so much fear, anxiety, and obviously leading to depression. But yeah, he encouraged me a lot. And I think one of the funniest things that I found, one day I was sitting with him, and as he was talking, I think he called his sister, and he asked about some medicine that their mother would give to them as kids. So yeah, he immediately reached out to I think it was his sister, and said, well, by the way, what is that mom used to give? And then the sister, that they had their talk. And he immediately then told me about it and prescribed it for me. But yeah, it went just beyond ADHD and depression, I must say, looking back now, I realized that I really would have struggled in 2020 with the lockdown had I not met him in 2019 and continued to have the sessions with him in 2020, because that would have been very difficult. And yeah, I have made some changes. It was, okay, it's a bit late, but I've made some changes, and I've gotten on track with other things, like with my studying again, going back to doing my honors, finding my own place once more, just having peace, working through stuff, and, just gaining that peace that had eluded me for such a long time. So yeah, it was such a sad thing for me when I saw that he had passed away, because I remember that when we spoke, one thing that surprised me about him, he was a very spiritual person. He, we would always talk about God, and what has God, he would ask me, tell me about things that God has done for you, your family. So that was also surprising. And I think that's how I really felt more at home with him, finding someone, who was also spiritual, who wasn't just looking at a wholly psychiatric view of a person, but also bringing in. And he actually, I must say, he actually encouraged me in terms of my faith and my walk with God. So,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Lindiwe.
Yeah, but thank you so much to everyone, and condolences to his family. But yeah, I realize that it's very important to continue with the lessons that I've learned, not to go back. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Lindiwe.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think Mel is next. Mel had her hand up, yes.
So for those, Jill's just joined. So Jill, Dr. Jeeva passed away on Friday morning. He'd been suffering a long battle of cancer for 5 years. So tonight is in memory of how he impacted all our lives. Okay, Merle.
Hi everyone. Tracy and I go way back. I got introduced to Dr. Jeeva through my son. My son is diagnosed ADD, but I've never could find anything like Dr. Jeeva given us a holistic approach at a time where I didn't know what to do anymore. And he's dyslexic on top of that. I knew after my son's very first test when he was grade 1, I just out of curiosity did the test. But somehow I just figured I could manage on my own. And Dr. Jeeva took a very holistic approach. I mean, Hadley that's my son, went through some rough experiences. Tracy knows about it. Because his ADD comes with a lot of comorbidities, comes with a lot of, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for challenges and behavioral challenges, which is part of his ADD. And it was a long, tough journey, but doctor was there all the time. I mean, I could call him at the worst of times, at the best of times. And I even got to an extent where my parents got to meet him. And I mean, for me, I eventually always questioned what's wrong with me when I was younger. And when I got the test done for myself and gone through the same process my son did, I think it was like this aha moment, the light pops. I understood me. I also had suffered for years with depression, not knowing what it was about and why I keep going back. Dr. Jeeva was a human being that showed humility at all times. He did not see you as a subject matter anytime when you went to see him. I mean, my last visit, doctor actually told me that he's got cancer, and he was very determined because I asked him, Doc, are you okay? Something just didn't look himself in terms of his health. And he shared this with me. And when I saw the message the other day, I was like, and I've been thinking, meaning I need to go back to doctor. I haven't been there in a while. I need to go back for me because it's like you can see when you stopped the meds or stuff that doctors helped me get through some difficult times, my ADD, and I've also been able to achieve a lot of success. And to Lindiwe, who said it's too late, at the time I discovered the first time I had ADD, and I had a proper diagnosis of how to work with it. I was 42, 43. I'm now 51. And I mean, I celebrate my little quirks. I'm okay with who I am. I always thought something was wrong with me. And that's because of Dr. G. He gave me a new way of looking at myself and not think. And I mean, it's like all the light bulbs just went on who and what I am. So we'll all miss him. I mean, for me, Tracy, we all had a special relationship with doctor, and he didn't treat you just like a little number that comes in. I mean, your appointment would be, for most of us now, would be for a specific time, but it would never last that hour that you're there. So my heartfelt condolences to the family. We're all going to miss him because he was far more than just a doctor to most of us. He was a very close friend.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you.
Kinsani.
Hi, everyone. I also wasn't prepared to say anything, but I thought it would just be apt to share my experiences. So firstly, my condolences to everyone that's been affected, very directly by his death, his friends, his family, and his close colleagues. So my journey with Dr. Jeeva started in 2018 after many years of trying to convince various health specialists or doctors that I had ADD, and them not believing me and them not willing to do the necessary tests and investigations. And so I took matters into my own hands, and I looked on the internet for actual ADHD specialists, and he came up. And one of the things that I always take away or remember from that appointment was that I felt very validated, very affirmed, and very believed. For the first time in my life, somebody was willing to say, "Oh, okay, this is what's wrong with you. Fine, let's talk about it, and let's do some more tests and explore more." And I walked away feeling really affirmed, and it wasn't a disaster for me, like, oh, I have ADD. It was actually a revelation, like a turning point, like, oh, finally, this is what's wrong. There is something wrong, and it can be, managed. It's always nice to walk away knowing that there's something wrong and it can be fixed, rather than walk away and not getting any help at all. So that for me was my journey. And obviously then it introduced me to Tracy and the team at the School of Life, which was it's just been an amazing journey of self-awareness. So that was my experience. He also talked to my mom. It was very interesting how he was very involved in the root cause of this ADD. Where did it come from? Is it your dad? Is it your mom? So this was the first time that I'd ever been to a specialist that took such a thorough interest in my condition, the root causes, and, you know, trying to find ways to help me to manage. I remember I had a follow-up appointment and I broke down in absolute tears because things were so bad at work. And he actually listened to me and he helped me to brainstorm like ways to get out of that situation. And he gave me some Herbal, which I was like very thankful for because I was very, very anxious. And I came in like literally with tears streaming down my face. And he was like, yeah, you need to drink this now, absolutely now. It will calm you down. And then we'll talk. And he told me to breathe. So I'll always remember that because I went to work feeling a lot, you know, more capable to continue with my day. And I think that day was kind of the start of a lot of life-changing decisions with regard to, you know, doing what's best for my mental health and my own healing. So yeah, the field has lost an immense, you know, source of knowledge and insight and wisdom. And I really hope, you know, other medical professionals and the team at the School of Life can continue to shine the torch on ADHD awareness, because unfortunately it does get misdiagnosed in, you know, females, especially. You know, it's always anxiety, it's always depression, but it's never ADD. So I really hope, you know, the field continues to shine the torch on further research. Thank you.
Thank you, Kinsani. I appreciate
And
that.
now we have Nicholas Yana.
Oh, so hello, sorry, I'm so it's a lovely afternoon here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm terribly sad. I'm terribly sad, and I just wanted to give my condolences to Dr. Jeeva's family. I probably met in person Dr. Jeeva maybe 4 or 5 times face to face. So whether that was the first time when we met was at an airport in Addis Ababa. I was living there, and we got him off the plane and we got him a little tour of the city, and he'd always say ADDers can do things that regular people can't. Like in what day and age could you take somebody out of an airport and then bring them right back to the airport for them to catch their connecting flight without going through like massive security and checks? Like he just knew. He really made this condition that I have like almost a superpower. And every time we would talk about it, it was just like, no, this is, look what you're doing. This normal people can't do this. Normal people don't think like this. Like it's really a blessing. And the times that I was frantic and manic, he'd always be there to you know, take my call at any time. So I may have met him only face to face a couple times, and I did meet him in Johannesburg, and I did meet him in Mississauga on a couple of appointments. But the real difficult, the tough thing is that I spoke with Dr. Jeeva weekly, and so every week he always kept our appointment. And no matter how his health condition or how I was feeling, he would always be like, "You ready? Today, tomorrow? When you want to meet?" Like we had a standing meeting on Thursday. But I would get a message on a Tuesday saying, "You want to meet now?" Or on a Friday or on a Sunday. And you could just have that kind of dialogue with this man because he just took it to the next level. And I feel like he would be so upset right now that I'm actually sharing in this group, because I've attended this group many times and I never shared, and he would always get mad. "Why don't you share? Just say something." And I'd say like, "Oh, okay." And I would always be shy. Like my heart is going to blow through my chest right now. But I think for his family's sake and for everybody's sake, we all need to know, or I need to share that he was someone who will truly be missed, who he saved me. When I met him in 2017, I was losing my mind, and he really brought everything into perspective. He gave me good tools. He gave me the proper prescription, which again is difficult for people like us to find properly in the proper amounts. But he really saved my life. And I've gone through a divorce, I've gone through child separation, I've gone through a lot of things, but really he was a supporter, he was a guide, he was a mentor to me in my life. I'm in education now, and he was just very, very helpful. And I know he will be really missed. And I'm very sad for his children, for Nabil, and I'm very sad for his family, and for all of you who hopefully we're all able to find somebody that will understand what we have and the hard work that we did do with this man, and to be able to pick it up at that point. So I'm sorry to get emotional. I will be remiss to say nothing, because I feel it's an opportunity that people need to know. So we miss you, Dr. Jeeva, very much.
Thank you, Nicholas. That's amazing. Appreciate that. Morona.
I think Morona. Just trying to make a list of who puts their hand up in what order, so we don't miss anyone.
Morona.
Morona.
Unmute me. Host, please unmute me.
I have.
You unmuted, Morona.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Cool. I'd just like to say I might have my the network might not be great, so I'm gonna try and be as audible as possible. So yeah, hi Tracy, hi Anita, long time. So this is the people that will forever remain in my life because of Dr. Jeeva. I met all these wonderful human beings, my chihuahuas, everything, through him. But I was introduced to Dr. Jeeva by a dear friend of mine. I was going through a crisis at work, and she just said to me, see this doctor. And I went in and I Googled and I saw ADHD, and I went back to her. So like, look here, I don't have ADHD. And she's like, no, just try him out. He'll look at other issues. And then we did the test, and then it came out that I had ADHD. But for me, like everybody else, it was that aha moment where, why, like, I always went through life knowing something is not clicking, and it was just this ADHD. So yeah, the relationship that I had with him, I think it's nothing different to everybody else. I think we experienced him the same. He is he's a genuine person. You walk out of there thinking that, you really you didn't waste your time and you didn't waste resources. And so, you needed to go back in. And I can concur with a lot of things that everyone is saying. Like, I remember he gave me advice when I had a very difficult colleague on how to step by step respond to the things that she was saying that were leading me to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To be passive aggressive. He said to me, stop being passive aggressive. That's part of like being ADHD. You want people to know that you're upset, but you're not you're not voicing out your frustrations. And it was so empowering calling my manager into a meeting and telling them that actually this is not gonna fly, and that's the kind of confidence that he gave me. And his level of humor was on a different level. It was crazy. I remember we went through different medications, and he was asking me, and we were doing tests and all of those things. And there was a time when he asked me whether I was experiencing what I was experiencing with the medication and stuff like that. And I said to him, no, nothing. And he said, yo, you are a stallion, man. So ever since, I've seen myself as a stallion. So it was nice to have somebody connect with you at that level and make you feel that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're just wired differently. And he opened up my networks by introducing me to Tracy. And I think from there, it's just been better and better and better and better. And nothing for me ever since, the first time I met him, nothing is a coincidence in my life. I'm very intentional about the things that I do. To date, I just got like an invite at work to participate in a talent program in wellness, and obviously somebody picked it up, and I would have not been here had I not spoken to Dr. Jeeva, somebody who knows exactly what you're talking about. It's a pity that I had to stop seeing him, but really so I'm gonna cut the video short, but really I just want to say that he will be missed, and I really did enjoy my time with him, and I'm very appreciative of the things that he's done for me. And yeah, he must rest. I think he's done his time, and we all will be missing him, as we try and figure out how to carry on with ADHD in the new normal. But yeah, that's my piece. And yeah, thank you so much for
Morona.
this opportunity. All right. Cheers.
Thank you, Morona. Okay.
Next is, I don't think your name is Mohammed, but it is Mohammed there.
It's Mohammed's wife.
Okay. Mohammed.
Apologies, you have Mohammed and his wife dialing in at the same time. I'm actually not a patient of Dr. Jeeva, but my husband is. And so he's been in our lives for the past 4 years. So I'm the mother of 2 ADD kids and the wife of an ADD husband. And only very recently, I'd say over the last 2 to 3 months, have I embraced Dr. Jeeva and his quirkiness and all that he has to offer. And so firstly, I'd like to pass both our condolences to his family and to his colleagues and friends and everyone on this chat who has taken the time to come and pay their respects. I was absolutely gutted this morning when I've got this email in my inbox from Tracy saying, join us for a memorial. So I wasn't aware. And to be honest, I feel cheated because I've only embraced this side of Dr. Jeeva for the last 4 months. And in fact, on Saturday, my daughter has had her first session with Dr. Jeeva, and it's a ray of light for me. Yeah, and so I feel incredibly cheated because I believe he could have been the answer to my sanity and to aid my family. And in the last few sessions that I've had with him, joining in the calls with my son, who's 10, and my husband, his wealth of knowledge, his experience, his empathy, his pure humanness really shone through, and hence I did an about turn and was really very keen to continue our journey with him. So yeah, I think everybody's mentioned his quirkiness. I think the first time I ever met him, that shone through, and I didn't take so well to it, because in the traditional sense of this is a doctor, I thought, well, really, is this a doctor? And I've got to understand him a bit more. Yeah, I remember coming back and telling my husband, seriously, you really want to, you think this is the right guy for you? But he has helped my husband immensely, has managed to save our marriage, to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed the Thursday sessions where actually I joined in Anita and her husband on one of them, and living in an ADD marriage. And he's really facilitated so many things in our lives. And so I do feel cheated that with my little girl, we haven't had the opportunity to explore further. But I know what he's taught me thus far will continue. I often hear my husband saying things and I'm like, you sound like Dr. Jeeva. It's like he's living with me. And that's amazing. And I'm glad and I feel blessed to have had him in our lives, and to have also detected my husband's ADD. He was 38. So for those that think that it's too late, it's far from too late. And there's definitely hope. And I know there's a fraternity behind him that stands behind him, that supports his legacy, and we will continue to be engaged in this forum. So I want to say, rest well, Dr. Jeeva. You fought a long battle. My thoughts, condolences, and prayers go out to your family. And yeah, we will miss you. I'm just going to hand over to my husband. I'm sure he has something to say.
No, I just want to pass my condolences to his family and friends and colleagues. And I wish I could thank him and see him one more time, but unfortunately I can't. So yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thanks, Guy. And next is Leanne. Leanne has a
Hi. Hi, everyone. Condolences to Dr. Jeeva's family and to everybody. And it sounds like to even future people or women like me who don't know that they have ADHD. Tracy, you said, I wasn't going to say anything, but something that captured me, and you all inspired me by what you shared. I'm a complete newbie, so I don't know any of you. And Tracy, you said something about, when you were waiting at the beginning of the meeting about us skidding in at the last minute. So in terms of Dr. Jeeva, I skidded in at the last minute. I was diagnosed a month ago today. I didn't have struggles around trying to find a diagnosis, although I had my wonderful therapist going, no, you're not enough of this, or you're too much of that. And 46 years of masking is a pretty long time. And then, of course, friends and whoever I did feel safe to say, I think I have this thing, going, no. And then, of course, I'd heard how difficult it is in this country, and particularly if you're a woman and an older woman. And one night I just went, bugger this, I'm going to find something. And I found this crazy, dynamic, intelligent man on the internet. And I think I searched everything, the videos, and I read the whole website, guys. The appointment was incredible. I was very nervous because I have preconceived ideas about psychiatrists. And there was this intelligent, genius, intelligent, enthusiastic, kind, naughty. He spoke so fast. I ramble a bit, of course, and he was so kind about that. He was like, you express yourself so beautifully, and we need to move on so that we don't run out of time. He gave me a lot of hope just in that moment, and I'm inspired to share this with you because listening to all of you, it's like I get some more. I'm so grateful that I skidded in at the last minute. So grateful. And Tracy, thank you, and bless all of you, and blessings to the family. Wow, what a legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Very special. Would anyone else like to say anything?
I would like to speak, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I like to speak. Dr. Jeeva didn't mind.
Nor do we.
So, yeah, I first met Tracy, actually, and then I met Dr. Jeeva. But when I first met Tracy, we went to Tracy for couples therapy. We found out about Tracy through someone through our gym, and we went as a couple. And Tracy said to me, the first session, she says, "Are you ADHD?" I'm like, yeah, I've heard of that, but that's not the problem. And she said, "No, you have ADHD, and it is a problem." And then I tagged along with Tracy to Dr. Jeeva's school talks. So that's how I met him. Tracy introduced me, and we went to Rustenburg, and we went all over the show, driving Dr. Jeeva around. And that is where I learned about ADHD. And my husband came with. And if it weren't for those school talks, and if it weren't for us following him around, we would not be married today. We would have gotten divorced, because he explained ADHD and why I am the way I am to my husband, who's not ADHD. And that is what has kept us together. So if it weren't for him, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know what I would be doing, but life would be a lot different. So yeah, and just there's so many memories, just driving with him to all these school talks. We were stopped by the police one evening, and he gave them all a pack of his ADHD CDs. He had a CD and a book and he gave them as a bribe. He says,
Oh, got that.
pack. And they were so fascinated with this pack. They were like, thank you. He says, I'm a doctor. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. This looks very interesting. He gave the police. And then I remember we stopped off at Wimpy. And I think for Rosa, you had packed him some nice food. So we ate all the sandwiches and the samosas and everything you made for us. And just going to his home, he was so welcoming. He let us in, he made us, there was always food available at his house. He was just so warm. He was just, and I think the biggest thing with Dr. Jeeva is that he really saw us. And it's because he has ADHD and because Tracy has it, you just get this sense of relief when you meet him because it's the same brain and it's finally someone who gets you. And I think a lot of people felt that way with him. He sees us, he saw us. Yeah, and he's still there. He's still with us and we'll just continue his amazing work. Everything he's taught us, we'll carry on. And yeah, there's so many stories. There's so many funny moments with him that we'll cherish and we'll keep in our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Nita. That's so true. I forgot about the police. That was a good one. Okay.
Mina.
There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Mina, is it Mina or Mena?
It's Mena.
Hi, Mena. Welcome.
I'm sorry to join it at such a sad occasion, but I'm very uplifted to hear the wonderful things everyone is saying. And it's so nice to see you, Feroza. I haven't seen you in years. I worked with Shabir for 15 years in Canada. I'm calling from Canada. I was there at the beginning of his practice. I helped him establish it, and I worked side by side with him and learned all about his dynamic and I'm hearing quirky personality. He was certainly a force to be reckoned with. He always used to tell me that I brought a calmness to him. So helped him keep on track and helped him with his ADHD sort of focus. And so, you know, I had the pleasure of meeting many of his family members and have become friends and have wanted to travel to South Africa for as long as I've known them, and just, you know, circumstances have not allowed, but who knows. But again, it was, you know, we learned so much from each other. I learned a lot from him. He learned a lot from his patients, and everything you're saying about him just brings it all back. And I'm so sad. I just, you know, was hoping that he'd be traveling. When he traveled to Toronto, I used to try to meet with him once or twice where we were able to meet. But this is how life is, you know, you plan and then things happen, and very shocked and saddened, but I'm so happy to see the success that he's had with your clinic online and in South Africa, and that he's been able to, I mean, he had such a large spirit. It could not be contained in that one body, in that one brain, you know. His friends used to say that if he was on the, imagine, you know, he was so brilliant, but on the right meds, he would be an evil genius. And I think sometimes we saw that, but you know, I loved him. I love his family, and I've missed all of you, but this is, you know, hopefully his legacy will continue in Nabil, you know, and the family and all of your good work. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Shark, would you like to say something?
Dr. Jeeva, how are you doing? And I see welcome to all Dr. Jeeva's family, friends. I recognize a few faces, a few names. Yeah, you guys can hear me properly, right? Can you hear me, Tracy?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Shark.
I actually know some of the family as the auntie or the sister and so on, so they can't always put the names to the faces, but yes. I think we all basically had this very much a similar experience with Dr. Jeeva, as it's, you know, as I can hear it. So I've had more of a, I actually wrote some just more in the process of a, you know, a bit of fact or a statement I just want to read it here. Basically, as you process through life, you meet a lot of different people, and each one has a little impact on it. But every so often you meet someone, it actually changes the course of your life. And for me, I was fortunate. It happened to me twice. First when I met my wife, and then about 10 years ago when I met Dr. Jeeva. I think he basically also diverted, changed my life quite significantly into a different direction. We had a lot of arguments as well, ups and downs. I think I probably contributed to quite a lot of his gray hair. So, and I know when at some point I was a patient, and at some point it actually became a friendship, and it's as I said, as any good friend as he was, he didn't mind telling me straightforward, being straightforward, being honest with you, and always, as the previous people said as well, always enjoyed his lunches. So it's been nice, and so I always take the lessons I learned and the impact he had alongside me, and it'll probably carry throughout my whole life. So it's not an impact for the past 10 years. It's something that he contributed towards me that will impact me onwards forever. So he actually left, I think, a very long-lasting legacy for all of us. And every so often when you probably hear somebody talk as fast or something quick, you always see Dr. Jeeva sitting in his chair there or in his webcam or something like that, basically remind you of him, So yes. And I actually found some very coincidentally that relates to it, that the guys don't mind. It's from the Quran. It actually says here, it is Allah that takes and it is He that gives, and He prescribes a certain destiny for every matter. Sorry, for every matter. So so basically, yes, he's here. He was here to basically have an impact on a lot of people, and I think it's our responsibility as well to take that impact and carry it forward. And the lessons that we learned and basically teach that onwards to the other people. Yes, basically what I want to say, Tracy.
Thank you, Jacques. So Jacques was also amazing. We would go to the school talks, Dr. Jeeva and I, and Jacques would come and sort out all our technical problems, so that make sure the speaker was working and the camera was working, and Jacques, and come. And Jacques would just sort it all out. So we were very blessed to have you in all the school talks we did, Jacques. You're amazing.
And always there. So it's good.
Thank you.
You made sure you were busy. You never sat and didn't do, you never sit. So it's,
Yeah, it was very special there. Is there anybody else who'd like to say something?
Hi, Tracy. I'd like to say something, please.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Well, when I first interacted with Dr. Jeeva for quite some time, just like simple questions regarding my kids' medication or mine. And well, I was an advocate. I had a breakdown and I had to close my practice. And for years, I've seen so many doctors, so many therapists. I was just at my wit's end. I was in a really, really dark place where I had just given up hope. And I just decided to write down my feelings. And Dr. Jeeva read it. And he said to me, you know what? You have to contact Tracy. So he sent me a business card. And I think words can't explain the gratitude I feel towards Dr. Jeeva, because he literally changed my life. Not only my life, my husband's life and my kids' lives, because we've all got ADHD. And we have a really colorful family. But the challenges were insurmountable. And well, it felt insurmountable, but he's actually given me so much hope. I think the really sad part for me is that I can't share the progress I've made with him. I was really excited to share that part of how far I've come in a matter of months. I think it's not even 2 months, and I actually now see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm now excited about the future. And it's a feeling I can't explain because I hadn't felt that way for so many years. Because I basically lost everything. And I'm now on a journey back to regaining, I won't say regaining what I've lost, but to building a better future. And that is all thanks to Dr. Jeeva. And my condolences to his family. I feel like we've lost, he was a pillar in the ADHD community. And he gave me the courage to actually acknowledge that I had ADHD, that I had depression, because it's very difficult in a professional setting to actually acknowledge and be open about what you're experiencing, what you're going through. And I think if I had him in my life when it had all started, when everything started falling apart, I wouldn't have spun out of control, and things wouldn't have been as bad as they actually ended up being. Now, but I think at this point, I'm just grateful that I got to, that he played that role in my life. And I think that is something that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Thank you, Tracy.
Oh, thank you, Bianca. That's amazing. So, Bianca, I'm going to share because I'm just so proud of you. Bianca has such social anxiety. This is like a huge dream that Bianca would actually talk up. So well done. That's huge.
Thank you.
That's huge. So we can break through our barriers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lay. Anybody else would like to say anything?
There's some really nice comments. Can I read one or two, Trey?
Sure. Thanks, Anita.
Okay.
Teresa.
So we have.
Do you want to say something?
Yes, please.
Please, that'll be great. Before we read, thank you.
So, okay, I just need to, I'm in another call. Yeah, typical ADHD. So, well, I met Dr. Jeeva when I was actually 15. So my mother attended a, well, he was talking at our school, and my mother attended a session. I don't know. I mean, I'm just being told this. And so this was like in 2008. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I didn't see him for much longer. I wasn't really medicated. And yeah, well, I always did well and stuff. So, but it was mostly the, only academically I did well, but then emotionally it was just like terrible. And it got worse when I started working last year. And like that was just traumatic. And so I mean, like at the end of my my honors in 2017, I joined back. Yeah, this beginning was 2018, and like he literally, it was like this huge reunion. And yeah, I mean, since then, I mean, I've been with him and everything, and now he got me through that. And then I didn't always follow my medication regime, but one thing I'm really grateful for is like, and like the previous speaker said, it's really sad that he won't get to see my progress right now, because like my wheels were falling off and things are just going terribly at work. And he literally he sits there and he listens. It's not like he's talking to us, but he actually sits there and he listens, and he actually solves your problem, you know, that you're gonna struggle with before. And like, it's just like for the first month, like literally everyone has really noticed the change, and like so sad that it literally just happened last month, the breakthrough, the huge breakthrough. Like my anxiety is just gone. Yeah, it was just, yeah, just really sad that I can't go back to him. I actually was trying to set an appointment with him on Monday, and it was like, he'll never get to. But yeah, well, I'm just so grateful to him. Like, he really gave me back my life, because anxiety was really just ruining my life. But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for chatting. That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? So So maybe Samaya, if you want to close for us, just for you all to know that we are continuing with this group. Every month we will be doing ADHD support group in memory of Dr. Jeeva. So Samaya, Anita, and I, we all ADHD, and well, Samaya's I had ADHD in her family, Anita and I are ADHD, and we will be continuing with skills every single month in memory of Dr. Jeeva. It's a free ADHD support group, and I really hope you can join us.
Do you want to let Firoza speak before I speak?
Would you like to say anything? So Firoza is Dr. Jeeva's twin.
I'll end off, Tracy. Let Samaya go ahead first. So after everyone's finished, I'll just say a few words.
Thank you.
Okay, Samaya.
Yeah, let's hope I can articulate what I need to say. I basically know Dr. Jeeva through my brother, who also passed away last year, Shuaib. And the one thing that, listening to all of you reminds me of is that similar to my brother, Dr. Jeeva had the same soul and personality. And I feel like there's a proper party going on, in the realm of souls, because, listening to everyone speak, and similar to how Muhammad's wife said that she couldn't relate to him the first time she met him, I think I was on that boat as well, because I felt left out for not being ADHD. The way he taught it, he made it sound proper, like a superpower, as Nicholas said, and I felt left out. But now I'm in a team of a lot of people here with ADHD, and I can only hope that in true Dr. Jeeva nature, we can move forward with the way he inspired us, with every single thing that he taught us. And just reading the Facebook comments on his page and listening to everyone here, it reaffirms the fact that this man is a man of heaven, and that gives me comfort, because I think we all aspire to that. I hope that I can be remembered in that way, not just for being the girl with the scarf on the team, but for something more meaningful. And it's been a great privilege to have known him, to work with him, to have driven him around, to have multiple suppers with him. Like someone else said earlier on, it was impossible not to be his friend. So he was constantly in my home. My entire family knew him as well. And so he will be greatly missed. There's something that gives me comfort though, when we think about something like this, and when we usually think of death, it's a very scary thing to think of, but the thing that gives me comfort is the belief that we have of how that happens. And I think it's only fitting for a man like Dr. Jeeva that reaffirms this, in that when the soul is taken away from the body, he's met by angels in the thousands. And when I say thousands, is the way they describe it is, and I'm paraphrasing here obviously from the Arabic, but as far as your eyes can see, the land is filled with angels that come to take a precious soul, and his hand is never left. He's met by the souls who have passed away already, and he is clothed by a cloak that is scented with the scent of heaven. And also in that, they describe it as a garden of sort of roses. That's every single rose is a different color. The color is never repeated, and neither is the scent repeated. And when he is taken up to the heavens, he is greeted by every single beloved name that he has been known for on earth. And, the angels basically give him that fame and introduce him that this is so-and-so, known by so-and-so. And I think that's something that gives me great comfort, because a man like that definitely deserves and is well befitted for a welcoming and a journey like that. And all I can say is that if anything, we all know each other in some way through Dr. Jeeva. I hope that we can continue to, be in each other's lives in some way or the other, especially carrying on in his work. And may we all meet once again in the best of places, and that place will be forever.
Thank you, Samaya. Thank you. Firoza, which is Dr. Jeeva's twin, his sister, his best friend, He never needed a wife. He had a sister like Rosa. And it's a completely unusual relationship, the most beautiful relationship they shared. If you want to just say a few words, thank you, Rosa.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you for having me on. I'm so happy to see the amount of people that went through him and got better and had a better life. And I want to tell Anita that even in hospital, we were giving the nurses those ADD pamphlets. And every day he would send a message, can you bring us a CD so I could give the nurse so we could get extra time? It didn't work out for us. They changed us, they were all the same, with all the pamphlets floating around the ward. Yeah, so my brother was just so amazing. And it makes me so happy to see so many people's life have changed for the better. Yes, I think there was a special quality in him. It was so endearing that whoever he met, when it was a child, he would start with the ear, playing with the child's ear, and he would first go right around the patient before he sits down to consult the patient, because that was his style. Always a very informal way of dealing with his patients to make them comfortable. As a family member, he was just phenomenal. It was just giving. He was so generous. He was so giving that there wasn't a thing that I ever was short in my life. I traveled the world with him. We went to Mecca together, Canada, London, New York, you name it. We sat in a boat in Kashmir and said, is this heaven? Is this what heaven looks like? Because it's so pretty. So yes, those endearing moments can never be forgotten. And yeah, besides being my best friend, my loving brother, amazing, amazing. That's all I can say. Thank you once again, Tracy. Good night to everybody.
So I just want to close. Thank you, Rosa. That was very special. I just want to close with a poem. But please know that next month we're going to continue every second Wednesday of the month from 7 to 8 p.m. We have ADHD support group meeting. So the poem is, don't think of Dr. Jeeva has gone away. His journey's just begun. Life holds many facets. This earth is only one. Think of him as living in the lives of those he touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. Rest in peace, Dr. J. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next month. God bless you all.
How are you? Can you hear? This was 1 hour tribute on a Zoom meeting that has just ended now. So your timing was absolutely. Everyone can hear.